We're almost 3 hours into trading. It is Tuesday, April 6th. Hello, traders. We're going to take a look at the market. We'll take a look at yesterday's pick, and then I've got something special to show you. First, let's start off with Amazon. That was my pick of the day yesterday. You can see this long green candle closing on its high above the 100-day moving average. We're looking to sell the 30-60, 30-55 bullish put spread for $1. You can see Amazon is continuing to move higher. Cup and handle formation, breakout right around those major moving averages. That's why we wanted to go just inside of them. I still like Amazon. I think it heads higher. We've got stimulus checks in hand. A lot of people are going to be spending their money with Amazon. I like the stock. I like the market. So let's shift our focus there. And you can see how we had this big move higher. Let's go into the daily chart first today. You can see we had gap higher, gap higher, gap higher. So we've had a number of gaps higher. We blew through the all-time high. Usually after this type of strength, the market is going to take a pause. Some of the price gains have to be digested, so I'm expecting to see a little bit of flat trading for a bit, and then we should start to pick up some momentum perhaps towards the end of the week, perhaps into next week when earnings season starts to unfold. But typically, buyers are very engaged ahead of earnings announcements. The guidance for Q4 was excellent. I'm expecting the market to move higher, and we don't have to worry too much about bonds because TLT, the U.S. 10-year Treasury, actually has a bid. Remember, I was telling you, first, we wanted to get through that downward sloping trend line. We did. Next, we wanted to establish a higher low double bottom. We've done that. This looks like a pretty decent little support level that's forming. Click GTC, click on the low of this candle here, click on the low of that candle. There's your upward sloping trend line. As long as that's intact, I think tech stocks are going to perform well. So let's go into QQQ. You can see double bottom, higher low, off of that 100-day moving average. Also, the downward sloping trend line right there has been broken to the upside. Look at the strength in tech. I think tech is where you want to be right now. It's been a lagging sector. This is what's fueling the breakout for the market. So as money rotates into tech stocks, I think you're going to continue to see really nice upward momentum in the market. This is something I've been discussing in the last week. Today, I'm going to show you something completely different. You know, when I started building Option Stalker over 10 years ago, I didn't do it because I wanted to spend an unbelievable amount of money in programming. I did it because I had thoughts and proprietary indicators that I wanted to develop, and there wasn't anything on the market for me to be able to do that and to be able to test it, so I had to build it myself. Well, when I saw all the short squeezes taking place over the course of the last 2-3 months, my wheels started turning. I'm always looking to improve my offering. So I thought, gosh, I've got to find a way to really home in on these short squeezes. There's a lot of money being made on these. So what I did was I developed a custom search for it, and I just released it yesterday. And I'm going to show you that search. And if you go into the custom search table, you can see that there is a field that we can sort by. It's called short squeeze. Now, these stocks, this is a database of stocks that I've collected, and I update the database of stocks. Is it short interest? Yes, that's one component of it. So there's nothing proprietary there. There's nothing overly special about it, although combined with all the other search variables that we can use for stocks, yes, this is certainly very, very powerful in and of itself. But there's a secret element to it that I've added. For my years in the brokerage industry, I know how to identify short squeezes, and I know how to identify forced buy-ins, and that is a critical component because that is the first blood that's typically drawn, and that tends to feed on itself. I'm not going to get into the calculations that I use to find these stocks and to build this database of stocks. If you're an Option Stalker member, just know that these are the stocks that you should be watching if you want to play short squeezes. So what do we do with the information once we have this database of stocks? Well, then, as the phrase implies, Option Stalker, not option running around with our head cut off, We're not looking at all of them. We're waiting for these short squeezes to tell us when the move is starting. And so we can use this as a primary search criteria, and then we can start adding. So how about a stock that is on this list that has heavy volume today? That would be interesting. So if one of these stocks that's a short squeeze candidate has heavy volume today, perhaps that would be of interest to me. So I'm going to click only that, and these are the stocks that come up. You can see not a huge list, a pretty small list. What might be another good criteria to use? Well, hey, if the stock can't even get above the prior day's high, it doesn't have any momentum, right? It's at least got to be above the prior day high for me to have any interest in it. Click scan. There's our list right there. Let's go through and let's take a look at this list. Now, this is not by any means exhaustive either. We could add all sorts of other things. In fact, what I can do is I can have a custom alert, and I can use this same field as the basis for my custom alerts. So every time these conditions are met, I'm going to know about it. How about heavy volume today? Perhaps compression out on a daily basis or on a shorter time frame. So that means that the stock has been compressing and now it's broken out to the upside from that compression. That would also be excellent to use. It could be ADX. How about ADX on a 5-minute basis? So here this stock is dormant, 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 the short squeeze candidate just sitting around doing a whole lot of nothing. But then all of a sudden, it starts popping. And this 5-minute ADX goes crazy. So it's got a big move that's coming on heavy volume. Yeah, I think I would want to get an alert when that happens. And you can see there were two candidates today that I would have gotten an alert on. Those are also, well, let's take a look at them. CHPT and EYES. CHPT. You can see here you've got your downward sloping trend line. Stock is barely able to get above it, and it's got the 100-day moving average that it still needs to get through. Would I be pounding this? Probably not. So what do? Click GTC, double click on that high right there. Now, if it gets through that high, I'm going to get an alert, and I'm going to specifically be looking for it to get through that 100-day moving average. And then you betcha that could be a really good one. So this would be a way to use custom alerts. We're going to look at EYES also in just a second. So I save this scan and it'll appear in my alerts once I've saved it. And I'm going to get a pop-up window in the lower right-hand corner that tells me, hey, EYES, looks like this short squeeze is starting to gain some traction. Okay, well then let's go trade it. Custom search. This is the other way. If you just want to run searches and see what's popping up, you can do this. Let's go through the list and let's take a look at what we've got. I know that I've got some members right now in the chat room who have been trading EYES. So these are the 4 stocks I'm going to highlight. I've got one in there that I really like. EYES, you can see downward sloping trend line comes in about right here. And you've got a nice long green candle. Some of these stocks, they get going, but then they kind of fizzle out. Then they get going again. I think I'd want to see a little bit more of a base and then that nice long green candle. But yeah, for day trading, I think EYES is excellent. Look at that. 3 long green candles in a row right there. Closing on their high, stacked, meaning there's very little overlap. And look at that volume right there. Now this baby was actually starting to come up on our searches right here when you got that heavy volume. So if you had that heavy volume marked in your custom alert, you knew about it right here. And that went from about $8.40 to $10. Not too shabby. Let's take a look at the next one, GNOG. You can see how that one had nice volume early in the day, but it started to pull back. These stocks are volatile, so you need to be able to set targets. Not as crazy about this one, but we do have a double bottom low. That's good. Downward sloping trend line here. Love to see it get above that 200-day moving average. So what do? I'm going to click GTC, and I like that candle right there. Double click on that. Now I've got an alert line. I could have put it at the high of today as well. Let's keep going through the list and see what else we've got to pick from. NCLH. There we've got downward sloping trend line broken to the upside. You can see how it bounced off the 100-day moving average. Couple of big gaps in here. Yeah, this stock looks like it could go. Now this is a cruise line stock, so let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. And there you can see we've got a double top, lower high. Not too crazy about that, but if I want to day trade it and I want to see if it does have some legs this afternoon, then I click on that. I click on that. Now I've got a downward sloping trend line. When it's breached to the upside, there might be a trading opportunity for me. It has not backed off of the high too much. So it's been able to retain about 70% of those early gains. That's a good sign. I don't like stocks that run up and then they pull all the way back and give everything back. That tells me that the selling pressure is still too high. This stock might actually have a little decent afternoon move. Finally, let's take a look at PSAC. See what that stock is doing. When you see tiny little candles and gaps like this, it tells you that the volume is very low. So on a lot of these short squeezes, that's a problem that you run into. If you're looking to swing it longer term, doesn't really matter that much. You're probably going to trade smaller size anyway. Let the stock do what it wants as long as that daily chart looks decent. And here you've got really big blow off. You can see it went up to $20.40, downward sloping trend line. Not breached to the upside yet, but this is encouraging. You've got one low here, another low here, higher low double bottom. That looks pretty dang good. So earlier in the day, if this were popping up, that would look great. I'm going to come in, click GTC, and I'm going to double click on that candle there. I'd want to know when that stock is able to break through that resistance level, and it actually did that already today. So I just dropped a GTC alert line on the high of the day today so that if it breaks through it tomorrow, I'm going to know about it. Out of the candidates that I've shown you, though, I really like that EYES trade. And you can see that big volume. I think this is going to set up for a really nice day trade. You also have this gap that's probably going to be filled in here. So this is the candidate that I would be looking for in terms of a short squeeze. You'd want to see it close near the high of the day, and that would tell you that you've got a good chance for follow through buying tomorrow. Short squeezes, a lot of money being made on those. I have the database of stocks and I update it constantly based on short interest and also based on forced buy-ins. Once those buy-ins start to happen, the customers who are short that stock, when the brokerage firm cannot borrow it, they have to buy it back in, and that feeds on itself. Fantastic list. That's all I got for you today. Good luck with your trading. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.